Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boom!
Wow.
How much of that was Cheryl Reeve, who was acerbic all last season?
She's the youngest black belt in the state of Missouri's history, 6 years old.
Here's Sophie Cunningham, the badass for the Indiana Fever, who is willing to fight.
Caitlyn Clark taking exception to that, and then Marina Mabry of the Connecticut Sun coming over and pushing her from behind.
Which we are big fans of for Caitlyn Clark.
You won't believe what Pat McAfee just revealed about Sophie Cunningham, because this changes everything. Right after the heated moment with Caitlyn Clark, McAfee went off script and dropped some serious facts about Sophie that had everyone listening. We're not just talking about a typical role player here. We're talking about a black belt, a former high school kicker, and now the enforcer for Indiana Fever. This isn't just support, this is strategy. And what Pat said? It puts Sophie's role in a whole new light.
Here's Sophie Cunningham, the badass for the Indiana Fever, who is willing to fight.
Sure.
Which we are big fans of for Caitlyn Clark. She was also a kicker in high school. Okay.
Oh, wow.
For the brand. Obviously, the
Makes
kicker is the biggest badass on the court. I love everything about it. Sophie, welcome to Indianapolis. Love that she was a kicker. That's a big ball, too. Hey, that's a good thump.
Wow.
That's a good kick right there. Obviously, she chose basketball, became a professional. But I love that she stepped foot on the field. The amount of courage it takes. She was a black belt in 6th grade or something like that.
Yeah.
Things just got real in the WNBA, and Pat McAfee isn't holding back. What started as another heated game for Caitlyn Clark turned into a full-blown battle. And at the center of it all, Sophie Cunningham. But this wasn't just about hard fouls or trash talk. McAfee revealed shocking facts about Sophie that no one saw coming. From black belt energy to full-on enforcer mode, the message was clear. Caitlyn Clark is no longer alone out there. And if you thought this league was intense before, you haven't seen anything yet.
Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boom!
Wow.
JC Sheldon, that's cute. You want to poke her in the eye, then push her into a boom Mabry thing? Go ahead. I'll take a take foul, and you'll eat the deck a little bit here. And then we'll get out. I love it. I know people aren't going to like this.
When Caitlyn Clark got knocked to the floor, the whole WNBA lit up. Fans were stunned. The media exploded, and one name kept coming up. Sophie Cunningham. But what if I told you none of this was accidental? Pat McAfee just dropped some shocking facts that flipped the whole narrative. From black belt training at 6 years old to being handpicked to protect Clark, Sophie's role in this story isn't what you thought. It's way bigger. This isn't just about a fight on the court. It's about strategy, star power, and the league's future. Let's break down exactly what Pat McAfee revealed, because once you hear it, you'll never see that moment the same again.
They brought Sophie Cunningham over in a trade for a reason. She's the youngest black belt in the state of Missouri's history, 6 years old. They brought her over to protect Caitlyn Clark because they saw this puppy coming.
It's not just about a hard foul or a courtside scuffle anymore. This goes way deeper. From explosive podcast clips to insider claims that the WNBA tried to silence one of the most powerful voices in women's sports, the facts revealed are nothing short of shocking. And what does all of this say about Sophie Cunningham's role? Strap in, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you see the whole situation.
So Christine Brennan and the WNBA tried to get Christine Brennan banned. And I mean this when I say this. Like, whatever your opinion on Christine Brennan is, it is not a positive thing if you are trying to get rid of probably the most impactful women's sports reporter in the history of women's sports.
The WNBA just got a whole lot more intense because what happened between Caitlyn Clark and the Connecticut Sun wasn't just another heated moment on the court. It became the turning point. And right in the middle of the chaos, Sophie Cunningham. Just minutes ago, Pat McAfee dropped some shocking truths that have fans stunned and critics scrambling. This isn't just about a scuffle. It's about loyalty, power plays, and a new name rising through the league's ranks with fire in her eyes.
And Sophie Cunningham stepped up and did what somebody needed to do. A little bit of rough justice for the Connecticut Sun. And they deserved it. Connecticut Sun coach Rashid Mezian didn't like it one bit.
Sophie Cunningham, the badass for the Indiana Fever, is someone who's clearly willing to fight, especially when it comes to standing up for Caitlyn Clark. Pat McAfee didn't hold back, calling her a real one and saying they're big fans of what she brings to the team. But it's not just what she does on the court now, her background says it all. She was a kicker in high school. That's right, for the brand. And not just any kicker, McAfee points out, that takes some serious guts. She even called it a big ball move. Add to that, Sophie was a black belt by 6th grade. That's not just impressive, that's intimidating.
Here's Sophie Cunningham, the badass for the Indiana Fever, who is willing to fight.
Sure.
Which we are big fans of for Caitlyn Clark. She was also a kicker in high school. Okay.
Oh, wow.
For the brand. Obviously, the kicker is the biggest badass on the court. I love everything about it. Sophie, welcome to Indianapolis. Love that she was a kicker. That's a big ball, too. Hey, that's a good thump. Wow. That's a good kick right there. Obviously, she chose basketball, became a professional, but I love that she stepped foot on the field. The amount of courage it takes. She was a black belt in 6th grade or something like that.
Wow.
Last season, when Caitlyn got bullied, nobody stepped in. It was like everyone froze shocked to see it happen, but doing nothing to stop it. But now, that's changing. Caitlyn's not backing down anymore either. She got up, pulled up from deep from the logo, and drained it. Then she looked at the bench and let them know exactly how she felt, pounding her chest, yelling, showing she's not just here to play, she's here to dominate.
And in last year, I think something we noticed, and I think a lot of people noticed, is when Caitlyn would get bullied, nobody would do nothing.
That's right.
Nobody would do nothing. It was like, hey, they didn't know, like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe people are doing this to Caitlyn Clark. Teammates weren't jumping in there. They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boom!
Wow.
JC Sheldon, that's cute. You want to poke her in the eye, then push her into a boom, Mabry thing? Go ahead. I'll take a take foul, and you'll eat the deck a little bit here. And then we'll get it. I love it. I know people aren't going to like this.
And when that happens, the league reacts. Players get physical, eyes get poked, trash talk turns into flagrant fouls. Marina Mabrey knocked her over. JC Sheldon poked her in the eye. But Caitlyn just got up and kept draining shots. The league is struggling to figure her out. Officials are confused. Opponents are frustrated. It's like trying to stop Shaq or Jordan when they first showed up. You can't trap her. You can't talk her out of her rhythm. The only thing left? Hit her. Get physical. Try to wear her down.
JC Sheldon had the task of stopping the latest superstar in her basketball league. And this thing was chatty in the second quarter. It was chatty. They've got history. It was trash talking. And then in the third quarter, Sheldon poked her in the eye again. This is something we see all the time. They were on each other. They were talking. It was trashy. The superstar like MJ, unstoppable, poke her in the eye, and that's a flagrant foul, and it should have been a flagrant foul. And then Marina Mabrey, this is inappropriate, came over, knocked her over. Many thought she should have been thrown out of the game. Well, she didn't get a technical. It's a little bad boys Pistons with MJ. For the record, Caitlyn Clark got up.
Pat McAfee didn't mince words. He brought attention to the league's reaction to Brennan's reporting and described it as a bad look, the kind of thing that makes fans and insiders alike question who's really calling the shots. He compared it to going after a legend, saying it's like attacking someone with the credibility of Bill Russell just for speaking out. McAfee also emphasized Caitlyn Clark's unmatched influence, her international appeal, her maturity at just 23, and how fans would have filled arenas if she had made the Olympic roster. And instead of leveraging that, the system chose to sideline her. That's what makes these revelations even more powerful. Because it's not just Brennan raising concerns, it's respected voices like McAfee backing them up.
So Christine Brennan and the WNBA tried to get Christine Brennan banned. And I mean this when I say this, like, whatever your opinion on Christine Brennan is, it is not a positive thing if you are trying to get rid of probably the most impactful women's sports reporter in the history of women's sports. Like, there's not one reporter who has, even if you don't like Christine Brennan, even if you don't like some of the things, they cannot come for Christine Brennan. Like, it is a bad look. It is a bad look. It's like going for a freaking, if you're a critic, it's like, imagine if, I don't know, Bill Russell said something, rest in peace, Bill Russell. But imagine hypothetically if Bill Russell was alive and Bill Russell said something positive about Caitlyn Clark and they went for Bill Russell. Who had them, like obviously Bill Russell maybe had more impact in the sport of basketball than anyone else ever. Other than maybe Michael Jordan. But Christine Brennan is the GOAT of women's sports reporting.
No hesitation, no second guessing. Sophie came down hard on Sheldon during a layup, sending a clear message to the entire league. If you touch Caitlyn, you're going to deal with me. It was the kind of retaliation no one saw coming raw, fierce, and deliberate. Instantly, the arena erupted. Fans online exploded. Some called her reckless. Others called her a hero. But no one could ignore what had just happened. The WNBA had been asking, who's going to stand up for Caitlyn Clark?
Taking down J.C. Sheldon on a layup attempt in the fourth quarter after we saw J.C. Sheldon claw Caitlyn Clark in the eyes. Caitlyn Clark taking exception to that, and then Marina Mabry of the Connecticut Sun coming over and pushing her from behind.
Sophie Cunningham isn't just here to fight. She's playing a very key role for the Indiana Fever. And more importantly, she's playing a key role in Caitlyn Clark's career. Pat McAfee made it clear, when you have a rising star like Caitlyn, you need someone tough backing her up. He's seen it before. How players like James Johnson would step in to protect stars on other teams. That kind of presence, it matters. And it's not like Sophie is just there to throw punches. She can get buckets too. She's contributing on both ends. She's physical, aggressive, and she's got game. That combination makes her the perfect teammate for someone like Caitlyn Clark, especially with all the attention and pressure surrounding her right now. Pat McAfee dropped a shocking fact.
She's playing a very key role for this Fever team.
Yes.
She's playing a very key role for this Caitlyn Clark career, I think. We talked about you, we talked about JJ, you know, like I got a chance to see it up close and personal with James Johnson whenever I was here for the Knicks games and the Knicks and Pacers game. And it was like, that is a pivotal thing for stars. And Sophie can get buckets too. So it's not like, hey, we're just here to fight. I appreciate that is the case. And what are your thoughts? I don't think we've asked you this about the WNBA as a whole, the moment they're having right now, and Caitlyn, and kind of this new era, seemingly, of women's basketball.
Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6. Nobody saw that coming. But what happened on the court made it crystal clear she's not just here to play basketball. She's here to protect. When things got heated and Caitlyn Clark was getting pushed around, Sophie wasn't having it. She stepped in barking under the hoop, grabbing heads, making it known. You mess with Caitlyn, you answer to me. Pat compared her to James Johnson in the NBA, the kind of player brought in to guard the star. And with Caitlyn Clark pulling up from the logo and lighting up defenses, someone had to have her back. Sophie was built for that role.
And if Caitlyn's going to continue to pull up from the fucking logo,
She will.
and drop it with no hesitation. Last night, double team, step back, sideways. How you doing? Keep it moving. Then how about her to the bench afterwards with a?
You like that?
Yeah, it was a. You like that, but that last one right here, this is a. Get to it. Get to it. Get to it. The punch is a. I'm the one. And
She punched somebody?
no, she punched
herself.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no.
Shoot.
She punches herself, and she basically says, like, yelling in the face, like, fuck with me, basically. It was awesome. As soon as I watched it, I was so excited. Let them know is my entire thoughts. Because they were trying to body her a bit.
yeah, big time.
They were trying to body her a bit. And she just, in their face, answers, dog. Sophie Cunningham coming in there, too.
The Indiana Fever knew what was coming. They saw the storm building around Caitlyn Clark, the fouls, the hits, the trash talk. So they made a move, and that move was Sophie Cunningham. This wasn't just another trade. This was strategy. This was protection. Sophie isn't just tough, she's trained. Pat McAfee revealed she was the youngest black belt in Missouri history at just 6 years old. That's not just background info. That's intent. That's firepower. It's the same move the Bulls made when they brought in Charles Oakley to protect Michael Jordan. You have a star, you protect them. You build a wall around them. And Sophie Cunningham, she's that wall, the enforcer, the message.
They've brought Sophie Cunningham over in a trade for a reason. She's the youngest black belt in the state of Missouri's history, 6 years old. They brought her over to protect Caitlyn Clark because they saw this puppy coming. So the Fever saw it coming. They went and got Sophie Cunningham, 6-year-old black belt. This is what the Bulls did with Charles Oakley to protect Michael Jordan. And I said this last year several times. The WNBA is not a vertical league.
This all comes back to Sophie Cunningham and the culture around Caitlyn Clark. Christine Brennan and McAfee both pointed out how certain decisions like keeping Clark off the Olympic team might be rooted in more than just basketball. Coach Cheryl Reeve, who had been openly critical of Clark before the season, was a central figure in that decision-making process. Even worse, Reeve reportedly tweeted negatively about Clark while being part of the USA basketball program, raising serious questions about bias. And it's not just optics. According to the transcript, the Olympic team's only point guard at the time couldn't even walk properly, while Caitlyn Clark was left off despite having better numbers than several selected players. This isn't just favoritism, it's potentially career-altering politics.
Just stunningly bad behavior by Cheryl Reeve, tweeting at and about Caitlyn Clark, kind of blaming her for not having her games on Minnesota Lynx on TV, but
like Christine Brennan actually brought that up. We forgot about that. The Cheryl Reeve literally was tweeting negative stuff about Caitlyn Clark before the season started. She was the USA basketball coach. She was the USA basketball coach. And look,
her jersey sold out. Number 8 became a symbol of grit, of defiance, of loyalty. She wasn't just defending Caitlyn Clark, she was defending what so many believe the WNBA has been lacking: real toughness and unity. But make no mistake, Sophie's no overnight success. This is a 4-time state champion, a McDonald's All-American, and the all-time leading scorer at her high school. In fact, back in the day, when her high school football team lost their kicker before the playoffs, guess who stepped up? Sophie, that's right, she became the varsity football kicker.
Her jersey is now out of stock, flying off the shelves. If you want a Sophie Cunningham jersey, you're going to have to wait for them to print more. She's number 8, by the way. You're not going to forget that going forward. Taking down J.C. Sheldon on a layup attempt in the fourth quarter after we saw J.C. Sheldon claw Caitlyn Clark in the eyes.
So there you have it. Pat McAfee didn't just shout out Sophie Cunningham for the fight. He revealed why she's essential to Caitlyn Clark's rise and the Fever's future. A black belt, a kicker, a competitor. Sophie's not just protecting the star, she's shaping the story. Sophie Cunningham didn't just step up, she changed everything. With Caitlyn Clark leading the charge and Sophie guarding her back, the Fever aren't just fighting, they're rising. Sophie Cunningham wasn't just reacting, she was ready. Pat McAfee laid it all out. This was calculated, this was personal, and this was just the beginning. Caitlyn Clark is changing the game, and Sophie? Caitlyn Clark took the hit, got back up, and still dropped 20. But what happened on that court and what Rich Eisen called out can't be ignored. This wasn't just about one shove, it was about accountability, protection, and respect for the stars who are changing the game. So what do you think did Marina Mabrey cross the line?
Here's Sophie Cunningham, the badass for the Indiana Fever, who is willing to fight.
Sure.
Which we are big fans of for Caitlyn Clark.
Caitlyn Clark taking exception to that, and then Marina Mabrey of the Connecticut Sun coming over and pushing her from behind.
How much of that was Cheryl Reeve, who was acerbic all last season?
Sophie Cunningham comes down and tackles the girl. It's like, hey, I'm protecting my star, and my take was, this is the process. We're going to let you know at the end of the game.
She's the one.
Yeah.
She is everything. She'll get after the refs afterwards. She said, I'm here to talk about basketball. I mean, she's a needle mover, and she's got an enforcer on the team now, and a black belt having Sophie Cunningham.
Sophie Cunningham didn't ask for the spotlight, but now that it's on her, she's owning it. One fearless move turned her into a fan favorite, a teammate's protector, and possibly the WNBA's next breakout star. What Pat McAfee revealed only confirmed what millions saw with their own eyes. Sophie isn't just playing the game, she's changing the tone of it. And if this is just the beginning, the rest of the league better be ready, because Sophie Cunningham isn't here to play nice, she's here to make a statement. If you felt that moment, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We want to hear your take.